So have you ever wondered how one statement from a world leader can potentially change everything for a region? That's kind of what we're diving into today. There's been major news out of the Middle East. We're focusing on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's, well, his recent declaration, the one about Israel intending to take full control over all of Gaza. So, our mission really is to unpack the sources we have, news reports, some analysis, and pull out the key takeaways for you. We want to give you a shortcut, basically, to understanding what this declaration might actually mean without you having to sift through, all the noise.
Exactly. And this wasn't just some off-the-cuff remark. It feels like a significant shift in Israel's position. It's definitely got the world's attention. So, yeah, understanding it is pretty crucial right now.
Okay, so let's drill down into the statement itself. The Prime Minister, he was very explicit, Israel intends to have full control over all of Gaza. And our sources point out specific wording that Israel must maintain security control over all the territory west of the Jordan River. That clearly includes Gaza, right?
It does. And the context here is, well, it's unavoidable. This comes right after the Hamas attack on October 7th, 2024. I mean, that attack triggered just a devastating escalation, one of the worst in memory. And this declaration, it follows months and months of Israeli military operations inside Gaza.
Right. That October 7th context is absolutely critical. It really frames his declaration about full control. But you mentioned the sources also point to that broader phrase, security control over all the territory west of the Jordan River. For listeners maybe not as familiar, what else does that imply beyond just Gaza?
Yeah, that's a key phrase. Territory west of the Jordan River, geographically speaking, that encompasses the West Bank as well as Gaza. So while Gaza is the immediate, explicit focus of this particular statement, the language suggests a much wider security vision for Israel. It's signaling a comprehensive approach across, well, all the Palestinian territories, not just contained to Gaza.
Got it. So a very broad scope being declared. How has the world responded? The sources say the comment raised alarms globally. Specifically mentioned the U.S., the UN, other allies urging restraint.
Yeah, and often that call for restraint is tied to something very specific the international community wants to see, which is, a roadmap toward a two-state solution. So the big question becomes, how does a statement about total Israeli security control fit with that goal? Or does it directly challenge it?
It seems to really highlight a fundamental disagreement, doesn't it?
On the surface, yes. They appear to be pushing in opposite directions.
And our sources lay out these two sort of opposing views on Gaza's future quite clearly. You've got critics who argue that Israeli control, well, it could end hopes for Palestinian self-governance, a huge political shift.
Yeah.
But then supporters claim it's actually necessary for long-term security, especially after October 7th. And just to be clear for everyone listening, we're just presenting these views as they appear in the source material. We're not picking sides, just laying out the arguments.
Absolutely. Which brings us neatly to the so what? What could all this actually mean? It's fascinating how one line can potentially have such far-reaching consequences. Let's talk implications. The first big one mentioned is the potential for a prolonged conflict. The thinking is a move to assert and maintain full control might just, prolong the war. It could mean more casualties, tragically, and also risk escalating regional tensions even further.
Which ties directly into the human cost. That's the second major implication, right? A worsening humanitarian crisis. International aid groups are warning quite loudly, actually, that civilian suffering could intensify. Especially if blockades and military operations continue under this idea of indefinite control. That's where it really hits home for people there.
It really does. And then there's a third point, diplomatic fallout. The sources suggest that if Israel pursues this path without a parallel political solution being actively sought, well, it could face greater isolation or sanctions. Even from traditional allies, it just highlights how military actions and diplomacy are, deeply interconnected. One affects the other, always.
So bring it back to you, the listener. Why track these potential outcomes? Well, understanding them helps you place the daily news in context, maybe see where things could be heading. It's about getting a grasp on the bigger picture in this incredibly complex situation. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we've unpacked in this deep dive. We looked at Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement about full control over all of Gaza and that wider security control west of the Jordan River. We set it against the backdrop of the October 7th attacks. We saw
the divided reactions, the international calls for restraint versus arguments for security, and we explored those really significant potential implications. More conflict, a deeper humanitarian
they even can be. It's a really tough question.
It is indeed a crucial question. We really encourage you to keep following these developments, armed with, hopefully, some fresh insights from our discussion today.